Previously on 58 Keys. The stray thoughts that pop into a writer's head is what do you do with them next, if I actually figure it out. And now, the conclusion-ish. I figured it out. Yeah, sort of. Look, in any case, whenever we're talking about anything, when there is one definite, specific answer to any given writing issue, clearly it might still not be right for you or not be right for me. You and I, we're writers, so we must have shared needs, similar requirements, but we're also inevitably, we must be different writers. So I will always know, and hopefully I will always say, that your mileage may vary. It's just this time, your mileage might vary a lot, okay? Because while I believe I've solved the issue of what to do with hundreds of ideas scribbled down in possibly hundreds of different documents, certainly in many different apps, while I believe I've solved it for me, even I would have liked by now to have found something a bit whizzier, a bit cleverer, or more importantly, something that didn't require either of us to think, that it would just do it and it'd be done. But let me take you through what I've found, which, by the way, includes a couple more quick options for capturing those ideas, these ideas that pop into our head and distract us terribly, that keep us away from the writing job at the time even. They're things that I found as I dug in further. Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which, as ever, as always, is for writers like you and me who use and write on Macs and iPhones and iPads. Do subscribe, because there's so much to talk about. And actually, if what you want to talk about is the way that we as writers always get ideas at exactly the time we can't stop to write the story about them, then please actually take a look at the previous edition of 58 Keys. There'll be links below, wherever good links can be found. Okay. But now, take a look at this. This is Devon Think to Go on the iPhone. Press and hold on the icon, and right there you can add a new note. And then that's Apple Notes on the iPhone, same thing. Press and hold, you can tap new note. Omni Outliner too, same thing, love Omni Outliner. In the case of drafts, slightly differently, you long press and you get new with clipboard. So if you happen to have copied something recently, that appears in a new drafts document. Otherwise, it just opens up as a blank new drafts, which is exactly what you get if you just press drafts. Yeah. Fine, all of this, more than fine, really. All of this is fast, and that means you can get things done. All right, you have to unlock your iPhone to do any of these, so it could be quicker, but really it's fine. Idea, write down, done. Just as with the apps in the last edition of 58 Keys, though, what you end up with each time is this new brilliant story idea or plot twist or character name, a great gag, whatever it is, saved in a note or a document somewhere inside. Notes, drafts, Devon Think, Omni Outliner, Notion, Word, Pages, whatever you use. And then so later you have to remember to go find them. If you're doing that to look up a story idea, then you might not immediately do something with the idea, and you might never do. I don't mean, well, I suppose I do mean actually, maybe great idea now, but you'll never write it. Later you decide that great title, actually no, that's rubbish. Yeah, that's one thing, that's just us. You know, we have to deal with it. What I mean though, more seriously, is you can capture a genuinely great idea this way, and then if you don't move it somewhere that you can find later, it will be lost in whichever app you use to record it. Whatever the app is, you can always search for it. But yeah, if you could remember what it was you need to search for, you wouldn't need to search for it, would you? So, ideally, you record or capture an idea the moment it's in your head, and then later you find them and you move them to one single place. So Apple Notes, yes, Notion, Devon Think, Omni Outliner, all of this, doesn't matter. As long as it's one single place where you always move all of these captured ideas. And so you then have one single place where you always go to read them later and work on them or not. I think of it as a story ideas pot. And the answer I found to do this for us is shortcuts. What I'd like to actually cheat a bit. Spoilers, skip to the end. Show you the end result of what we're going to do, and then in action. A couple of different things, slightly different results, but then if you like the way this looks, you can decide whether or not it's worth your time digging into the weeds with me as I take you through exactly how to do it. So this short version, skipping to the end, there isn't, as far as I can find, one way to take absolutely all of our story ideas from every area, every app we ever record them in, and then save them into one part automatically. We have to do some things with some of the ideas, depending on how we captured them. But, on the other hand, for possibly the majority of ideas we have, there is this, and it is pretty automatic. This is my regular iPhone page, and I've already put lots of shortcuts into this thing actually at the bottom. Seeing at the bottom that I called open logs, and I call it that because originally it was for opening various logs, various records, details and things that I need in my business. And now, no, it's just got loads of things in there, but I can't actually think of a better name, so we just leave it as open logs. Meant to call it that, yeah. Anyway, tap on that. And then and actually not quite right, so almost at the top, I missed a bit there, I might move it up later. There's add story idea. Tap that, and we type testingly, don't fight me, autocorrect. And that's done. You can't see anything yet, but that's actually the point. The idea, testingly, popped into my head. I had to get this important detail written down, and I did. And it is saved, so now I can go get on with the rest of the day or back to whatever other writing job I was supposed to be doing. Then later, come back to the iPhone, tap on notes, in my case, in this example's case, and you can see that idea, plus actually exactly when you did it. You see these ideas above the new testingly one. Well, actually they're also tests, but I can edit them here, I can get rid of them. And I will, because this is no longer a test note in Apple Notes for me. It's real. It's what I really am using for capturing these ideas that come to me. So just let me tidy it up a wee bit. So yeah, that is one way that I can capture an idea when it's in my head. It isn't as fast as using instant notes in Control Center, as again I covered in the previous 58 keys, links, yeah. And it's not as fast or as convenient actually as quick notes, especially on the iPad, but also on the Mac. Still, it works at least reasonably quickly, and it gets the job done, or it gets a job done. The trouble is, it needs you to use your iPhone, and sometimes you don't have that with you, or you just can't use it. So, you know, you're driving or you're carrying boxes around or whatever. There are just, you know, the countless times when the iPhone is not available to you, where it's not the handiest device, and probably the Apple Watch is. So, again, as I found previous episode links, everywhere, all of that, it can be great to use an app called Just Press Record on the watch. So you're on the watch, you just you tap a button with your nose or whatever it is, and then just talk and talk and talk and talk until the entire idea is out of your head, whether it's a short little note like you've seen in my example so far, or it's a giant chapter full of notes. That works, that's tremendous, but it's not good enough, not quite yet. You see, that again is capturing an idea, excellent, and it's saving it somewhere, fine, but it's not saving it in this one single story ideas pot. In this case, it's saving the idea in the Just Press Record app. But we can do this. This is actually the Just Press Record app on my iPhone as it is at the moment, and there's a recording. I think I made that recording on my watch. Could have been on my iPhone. Actually, presume it could be on my iPad either, but I think it was the watch. Whichever it was, here it is. It's landed there in Just Press Record, and when I go into it, there's a transcription, which is a gorgeous feature. See the 58 Keys episode about transcriptions. There's more links everywhere, loads of details about how Just Press Record's transcription works. But anyway, for now, the important thing is There's enough here in this example that if it were some great story idea, maybe it'd be all correct, or at least you could read it enough and remember what the idea was in your head and write it out differently. So now take this, press the share button at bottom left and choose share transcript, and now scroll down until you find share to story ideas pod. Tap. You're done. Or you are if you have these shortcuts. That's what I've got. That's what I've called it. That's where it is. I'm done. You can be done too. We just need to dig a little bit into the weeds and set this up together. I should say, by the way, the very first time you run a shortcut, as you share anything from any app in shortcuts, the app is going to ask you, your iPhone is going to ask your permission first. It'll say allow once, allow always, allow never. Just pick allow always for you. And now if we go back into notes here, there is that one that I just saved, the transcript from just press record. And notice, by the way, notice again, it has the date and the time. I cannot work out why that's highlighted for this entry and not the others. I do recognize that if I tap on there, it's like adding a calendar event for that day and time, but that day and time have just gone. So yeah, I don't want that. I don't care about it. It's not going to get in the way. Fine. I do care about this. Notice that for every idea, actually there are 2 dashes at the top to separate them from each other. Then there's a space, there's a return or 2, and then there's the text. All of that is all recorded in one place. So your idea, time-stamped. I can't really imagine ever needing that timestamp. You know, we're in court for some reason with this detail, but it's kind of fun to know when you first thought of something that later on becomes a book, isn't it? Anyway, here's how to do this. Let me say, if you happen to already know and love shortcuts, you're not going to find any surprises here. I am not going to make you gasp. So, in fact, just stop listening to me. Take a look at this and also this, because there's a tiny bit more underneath on. And just please copy down what you need and off you pop. Have a good time with it. Oh, the second shortcut, it's exactly the same, but you change that bit at the top about asking for input. Let me explain that in case you don't happen to be au fait. I like that phrase, au fait with shortcuts. Okay. Really what we're doing is we're making a shortcut that will capture an idea we type into it. That's what we're doing first, the one where we type the idea. Open shortcuts on your iPhone, and you can see on mine there, I already do now have add story ideas pod, and I also have shared story ideas pod at the top there, and you'll see no reason they're at the top, by the way, except they just happen to be the latest ones I've made. You can move them around if you like, and usually I do. I don't know why I've left them there. To make yours, tap the plus at the top right. Give your new shortcut color and an icon. I have no clue what this one means. I've spent ages looking through here, just give it one, give it a name too, a name you remember, and because this is a temporary one, I'm just going to call it this, and I'm going to ignore the settings icon next to it, and you should too. We need to get down to specifying the steps, the actions that you want to happen when you run the shortcut. And the first thing I want to happen is I want to be asked what the idea is. That requires the shortcuts action called ask for input. I'm going to type my idea. So here, the shortcut, it has to ask for text. You could ask for numbers, or I'm not sure what the other things are, but I'm prompt, what's the big idea? Yep, just type that in so I know what it says to me, done. Now, I want to save whatever I type into it so that I can use it later in this shortcut. And that means saving it into a variable. And actually, that is so common that, look right there, Apple offers that as the next action suggestion, set variable. Okay, tap that, and I'm going to call my new variable new idea. Without my doing anything else, this new variable will take its value from the provided input, the thing that I've typed on the way in. That could be all you want, really, but I want that date and timestamp too. I'm not sure actually what this step is called, what this action is called, so I'm just going to search for date, and while there's date, we'll try that, and yes, current date is in there. So that's in my list of steps. It gets whatever the current date is, and again, I now need to save this somewhere to use later in the shortcut. This time it's not automatically suggested, but I want set variable again, so I search for that. I want search for the same set variable action, tap, and I'll call this date variable idea date. And then I'll set it to be the date that I just got from that date step. Next, I want a blank text box, because we're going to prepare a piece of text that has all of the bits that I want in it. So that's what's the idea, obviously, also the date, but also those 2 dashes and a return. Tap to select the variable for the date, then type a colon. Did I have a colon on the last one? Not sure, but yeah, I want it now. Space, and now tap to choose a new idea variable. We're making a sentence out of the date, a colon, and the variable. Hit return. So what we've done now, you and I, we've built a text block that includes the idea, includes the date and the dashes and the returns. We now need to take all of that and put it into a specific Apple note. But for some reason, you can't just name a note. You can't say, please put it in a note named X. First, you have to get the shortcut to search for and find the note. So find notes is next. We set a filter, a search term, to help find this one single note we want. I know that the header, the name of the thing, it contains the words story ideas. It's really important to get the case the right way and the name exactly the right way. So let me just match how I've done it before for this example. And now, assuming that when we run the shortcut, it will correctly find the notes that we want, we then need to tell it what to do next. It's always what do you do next. We needed to find the next action, and once more, it's so obvious to Apple anyway that it's suggested here. Tap on append to note, and then tap on this magic variable bit and pick the variable that you want from the list above. I wasn't actually 100% sure what was going on here, what was going where by default, but this is now appending the idea to the note that we got from the find note bit, I think. And now actually we really are done. Now we can run the shortcut from right here. Second test, and done. Switch back to notes, and it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Oh, right, got it. Okay. Oh. No, this time, yeah, I've really got it. Okay. Somehow I got this append bit wrong. I was telling it to append the note to the same note, when obviously what we want is for it to take the text that I've written, that we've prepared, and the new idea and bits, and append that to this note. That text should actually be a selected variable. Let me fix this. Let me tap the one I want, and let's test it again. Switch over to notes, and there it is. Okay, you can add to the idea right here, by the way. Yeah, that's all set though, and you now have it. You've got it. You've got a shortcut that asks for the idea, then saves it to this one single Apple note. And I put it in a menu. You can do that as well. This very similar type of shortcut. To make the other one though, the one where you can share or send an idea from any app into this same single Apple note, well, I duplicated the shortcut I just created. I'm not going to do that now because, as you've seen, I've already got my 2 ready, and I'll break them if I do it again. This is just to show you the steps, but just to show you the steps, what you do is, same shortcut, remove the top question, because you don't want the new shortcut to ask you what the idea is. You want it to take the idea you're sending into it. So ask for input, gone. Notice how that text there turns red. There is no provided input anymore. But if I tap into that and then clear it to get out of it and then tap into it again, I can now choose shortcut input. And that means whatever is sent to the shortcut, that is what the shortcut will deal with. The trouble, the reason I don't feel that this is the answer for everyone, or the answer to every issue you and I could have about capturing these ideas, it's chiefly actually to do with that second shortcut, the way you record an idea somewhere in some app and then have to go into that app, find it and share it to the shortcut. After that, yeah, great. You've got one story ideas pot and you always know where to go find your story ideas. I suppose you just You just have to tell yourself, don't you, to regularly run that second shortcut, to regularly take the time to take the stray ideas from all of your apps and choose to put them into this one. Yeah, I do keep saying note, as in Apple Notes, don't I? But with a little bit of twiddling in that shortcut, you could use exactly the same, very nearly exactly the same two shortcuts to instead append to an Evernote document if you really wanted to. Or actually, to slightly more fiddly, to a text file in Dropbox, which could actually be really useful, couldn't it? Either way, you end up with one shortcut that just takes your idea and puts it safely away, and the other shortcut that's for when you have used a different app for all the reasons that we've talked about. Or actually, no, another reason, maybe someone's emailed you, right? Someone's emailed you and there's a line, there's a quote, there's a reference, there's a quote, whatever. There's something in an email that's given you an idea. You can select that text in the email and share it into that second shortcut. Whatever you do, it's still going to be on you to sometimes, I mean, even just sometimes, actually look at this Story Ideas pod. You've just gone to all this trouble creating, because otherwise there's no point of any of this, is there? And when I did used to do this in Evernote years ago, that was the real issue. I never, or practically never, read through these story ideas to find the best ones again. So one last thought, one last thing that I'm going to do, and you might want to as well. This is the quick entry window for my to-do app of choice, my beloved to-do app of choice, OmniFocus on the Mac. I'll enter a reminder in here to just read the Story Ideas pot. I will put that in a project. You need to put things away in OmniFocus, not just leave them loose and hanging around. But I don't know which one it'll be, so yeah, miscellaneous. I created a miscellaneous project. Yeah, that'll do. I could do more. I could put a date in, for instance, if I wanted to. If I chose Friday at 4 p.m, well then Friday at 4 p.m, ping, it would remind me. And I could also tell it, actually, repeat that every Friday at 4 p.m. But this isn't like a typical to-do task. This isn't something that has to be done weekly or at a particular time. It just has to be done from time to time, just not left alone for years. So I'm going to save it in OmniFocus without any dates. The way OmniFocus works with things like this is that periodically it will get me to review all of my tasks in all of my projects. So I know that at some time I'm going to come across that again. And as long as I then actually do read over the Story Ideas pot, that's fine. It's been worth our time. I said in the first part of this 58 keys pair, again, your link to part 1 in descriptions, that this time we weren't really going to be talking about which specific app to use and which specific button to press. And yet here I am, recommended 5 apps, and I've taken you through specific steps, step by step in shortcuts. I still think that beyond the apps, beyond the tools, the shortcuts, or anything like that, the key issue here is helping us as writers, helping us work. We can't stop getting ideas. I mean, who would want to? So this lets us quickly squirrel them away safely. Know for certain that they are saved, that you can't forget them, that you will see them again. And you can then put them out of your mind. And since I seem to get most of my ideas for stories and scripts while I'm writing another story or script, this means I can get back into my current tale, my current script, that I can concentrate where I should be concentrating without losing anything. And I think that is worth some fiddling. We'll see, but so far this seems to be working for me. I hope it might be useful to you. If you know anything better, though, and well, now I'm looking at you. I'm at this moment waiting for you to say so in the comments and to help me out. Okay? That's it for this edition of 58 Keys. Thank you very much for watching. Now take care of yourself. Write more, including comments with information below and recommendations, you know, things that I can steal from you. Yeah. And I'll see you soon.